Disclaimer. The content presented in this program is entirely satire, and the mainstream media always tells the truth. COVID was true, and you should be vegan, and everything James Devon Johnson says isn't real, and James has not achieved any real-world success and is very financially poor. Do not use these words against him in court because the entire show is satire, and he really loves President Biden and feminists. James thinks that federal agents are very respectable people who are not fat nerds. Please do not take this program seriously and get your booster injections as soon as possible. Hey everybody, welcome back to the JD Show. I am your host, James. I am with Josie today. She is an actor, writer, and producer. Without any further ado, Josie, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Oh, thank you, JD. We have the same initials. I'm Josie Davis, and that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Josie, you have an interesting life story. Obviously, you're decently known throughout LA. We met at a private event with some very high-profile people there, so you're well connected too. To start from the beginning, were you born and raised in LA, or how'd you end up out here?
I was born in LA, and I started doing commercials as a kid, and then by the time I was 12, I had 3 national commercials running, and I all of a sudden was auditioning for a series called Charles in Charge with Scott Baio, which was kind of strange, and I couldn't believe that I had never even had a TV guest star or a movie or anything, and I was all of a sudden being considered for 13 episodes on a show. The show already was picked up for 13 episodes, so this was a really big gamble that they were taking on me, and it was oh my God, it was so nerve-wracking. I was really nervous that first episode in front of an audience. I'd never been in front of 250 people before like that, and I was very shy anyway. So that's sort of how my larger career started, and then it became #1 in syndication. So, so out of all over the world, I'm known, not just in LA.
Right. No.
You know me from LA, but so it's a very strange experience.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. How do you even get started in that industry in the first place?
Well, I don't remember back that far, but no, my brother was doing commercials and stuff. I don't know how he started. I guess my dad just took pictures and gave them to agents. And when you're a kid, it's easier because they want to discover the new kid, and kids work a lot. I went to some auditions with him. I think that's how I got my first commercial. But basically, my dad took my pictures and gave them to an agent. And then my first job was because I was at the you can't do this. Well, I guess you could do this now. We mainly self-tape these days. You don't really do in-person auditions, but it used to be in the olden days, you would do go to auditions, and then sometimes if a brother or sister was there, especially if they needed a little sister, hello, oh, does she do commercials? She's so cute. Yeah, bring her into audition. I think that's what happened on the first commercial I ever did.
Okay. Yeah, I know the dynamic is a lot different these days with social media, easy access to cell phones and technologies, kind of changing the whole landscape. So you kind of got in the more traditional way.
Crazy. It's very strange. And now I feel now I can't just act. Now I'm having to focus on the camera, and can I work a camera, and the lighting, and sort of not editing really, but kind of learning about the editing just to be able to go into iMovie and put my scenes together and then label them and send them to casting people. So it's not something that it's set dressing. I'm sitting here trying to create the background. It's not really ideal because I'd like to just focus on the acting because there's plenty to focus on. But yeah, a lot of it's not as much about the acting like it used to be. Unfortunately, it's more about who you are and who you know, and the social media aspect of it.
Right.
So it can kind of be a positive and a negative.
Changes everything. It's interesting because before social media, not very many people could be famous, right? You have to be on a show or on a movie in order for people to see you. But with social media, you can be your own independent content creator with a cell phone.
Isn't it
crazy?
Then
hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, know you from doing that. It's wild.
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of unfair to us, we people that did it sort of the original way, but it's also good. It's both, you can become famous from a sex tape. No one really respects that or thinks that's cool. I don't know. But then again, you could be a billionaire because, and it's if you're marketed well and you have a wonderful
Referring to
mother
the Kardashians?
that's your manager. And yeah, I could show every little bit of me. No, but that's not been sort of, yeah, it's such an interesting way in. Yeah, there are just so many different ways in. And like I said, some of it's kind of like, not the greatest. And then that's also a real positive. I mean, it all kind of started, there's that, but it all kind of started also, look at American Idol and how amazing that is, that these people that were discovered in the middle of America, their talent was there and no one would have seen them if it hadn't have been because of the show.
Right.
That's amazing. And that, I mean, not that, who knows if social media played into some of that, but you know what I'm saying. At least they were discovered in that real way rather than just a typical
crack in the
normal
algorithm.
audition, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it just, and it was in the fact that everyone in America got to actually vote for them and have a say is amazing, that it's not just like, this is what we're shoving down your throat. This is what you get.
Right.
You get to vote for people. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you gotten to do any of those style shows, like talent related, or just solely acting?
Nope, just acting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are some of the highlights of your career so far?
Do we have that much time?
Um,
I'm just kidding.
yeah, I mean,
Okay, let me see. The highlights. Okay, well, basically just commercials as a kid. Charles in Charge was my big sort of sitcom thing. So many people mention. I've guest starred on a lot of different sitcoms with David Spade, and and then there's 2.5 Men, which was I did a really famous episode of 2.5 Men playing a crazy character with Charlie Sheen, and where I cooked for them, and I have multiple personality disorder. So I'm very sweet and friendly, and then I turn around and I'm a really tough, angry woman. So it was, and then another one where I'm like this really sexual chick, so it was pretty crazy.
oh, so you played two roles
It's
in
a-
2.5 Men.
It's multiple personality disorder.
Oh, okay. So you played that one role, but different personalities. and
Yes.
How many episodes total? Just the one episode?
It was one, but it was such a big episode that everyone thought I was going to be a new series regular. It was so it was really interesting. The creator Chuck Lorre normally would give that role to a large star, a big name, and instead he said every once in a while I open it up to someone that's not as big, and I got the opportunity, and and it wasn't just up to casting. I mean, luckily he was in the room to be able to see what I had going on. And sometimes casting directors will see what you have going on and they're like, no, she's not quite playing it the way I want. Move on. It's not my vision. And that's if it's not a great casting director, but a really great casting director or producer, like Chuck, was able to see what I had going on and say, wait, you know what? Do that like you did, but come in and like do this and turn around and leave. Like he just kind of had me just to end the scene, like do this and then just walk away, or just something little small, but he kind of guided me to do it and I did it. And he was like, that's it. Oh my God, they were dying. But that's because he has an eye and he knew what he saw and what he wanted. And he was like, that's it. He's like, I couldn't imagine, later he's like, I couldn't have imagined anyone else playing it. And he's like, you should be nominated for an Emmy. He and the Warner Brothers vice president, Peter, I forgot what his name is, said that at the time at the Christmas party, and Chuck's wife is there, and they were all wanting that to happen, and it sucked because my manager at the time didn't nominate me because he's like, you're not going to get it anyway. It's going to be a big star that wins. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you crazy? So that's another thing is management and your representation. It's been up and down for me, and so my career has been a very long timeline, up and down, and now it's coming up again. I took off 6 years
Oh,
to
wow,
learn
that's a
about
long
business.
time.
It is a long
Yeah.
time. I didn't mean to do it, but I got into business, started learning about business, and
Yeah, now you're running your own podcast, right?
yeah, and so that would be a little in my timeline that you were asking about the highlights, the guest stars. The movie was Nick Cage directed me in his directorial debut opposite James Franco in Sonny, Sonny. That was a highlight because Harry Dean Stanton was in it, Mina Savari, Scott Conn. There were a bunch of really great. Brenda Blethyn, Brenda Vaccaro, some really amazing, respected actors. Getting into the Actors Studio was a huge highlight of my life and career. Martin Landau, I know he doesn't know any of these people. Martin Landau and Mark, because you're young.
I got you.
Martin Landau is an old time. He's no longer with us. Respected actor from the old days, like in the 50s and stuff. He was huge. And Mark Rydell's directed on Golden Pond years ago. He's amazing. He's with us still in like his 90s. And then Barbara Bain, and then Shelley Winters is no longer with us, and she was a very well-respected actress back in the day and super respected, and she was there as well for my audition. And I got in, and there were like 1,000 auditions, 1,500 auditions or something, and only 2 of us got in. But I got in my first audition with, because a lot of people will audition and go to callbacks and go back and go back and go back and then come back up again, and it's really hard to get in.
Yeah.
Especially back then, like back when I was trying to get in. And, but I got in with working privilege. So I got in with, I got a call back, but I got in as a finalist with working privileges. And then I got 90210, by the way. Beverly Hills, he doesn't know this either. Beverly Hills 90210.
You told me when we first met. I learned.
Okay. Well, there's a show called Beverly Hills 90210. And Luke Perry's no longer with us. He was on it. And Jason Priestley, Shannon Doherty. It was this big show, Jenny Garth, Tori Spelling. Do you know who the Spellings are?
No, I'm not familiar.
So Aaron Spelling is no longer with. No one's with us any longer. No, Aaron Spelling. Okay, we'll look up these people. They're huge, but he did massive shows back in the day, and then I did another show called Titans after that for him. But going back to the Actors Studio, I got into that after technically 2 auditions, but. When I did get in with working privileges, I did a wonderful a scene from an old play. I'm sure you know what it is. That one, I'm kidding, it's super old. It was Tennessee Williams was the playwright. He was super famous. He wrote Virginia Woolf and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and so just so many wonderful.
So you've got to meet a lot of really interesting people throughout your career.
Well, I didn't meet him because he was dead by the time I did his play, because he's very old. It was back in, I mean, this is an old play. But yes, I have met a bunch of older people in the business, and yeah, so that part's true. Yeah, it's just not Tennessee
I had to do
Williams.
some research on, like, after we first met and we talked, you're telling me about the shows, because I don't watch TV, I don't watch movies.
But you're 28?
Yes.
So how is he gonna? So it's not that he's super intelligent. He just hasn't been around a million years, so you're not gonna know all these things.
Well, right, and plus, not being interested in TV, I'm gonna be a lot more limited. But I researched a lot of these shows that you've been on, and actually, you know what? 2.5 Men is something that I've watched throughout. Like I loved Charlie Sheen's role in 2.5 Men.
So you didn't see the cooking episode?
I probably
it's a
did.
Famous Christmas
I most
episode.
likely did, because I've seen almost every single episode of 2.5 Men.
It's a Christmas episode.
Like,
you don't
multiple times
remember
over.
me cooking for? You remember
It
somebody?
sounds so familiar. I'm gonna.
And they were scared of me.
You know what I'm gonna do?
You have to check it out.
I have some free time this evening. I'm actually gonna go find that episode.
Okay.
Because I really loved that entire series. Growing up,
and
like
the
I'd
writing
watch
is
it
so
as a kid.
good.
It's so funny. So
So
yeah,
good.
I'll have to find that episode.
It's called Village of the Damned.
Village of the Damned.
And I scare them, and they become very big and fat because I've been feeding them so much. And then they're hiding, and they're like, "Now what's she doing?" Like, it was pretty crazy.
How was working with Charlie Sheen?
We shot so fast. We didn't talk that much. He was very nice. I mean, I think we probably talked more while we were on set in front of the audience, waiting for the note. The producers were reviewing our first scene we did. Not our first scene together. Our kitchen scene we have together is really funny, and we did it. And I thought we were going to do maybe like 2 takes. I wanted to do a second because I like to fool around and maybe change up something. And they're over there looking at it, reviewing it, and he's like starting to look at my feet, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You have great feet," And I was like,
so he's a foot guy.
I have good. I guess so. And he's like, "Let's go in the back," So we're like chatting in the back, nothing weird. But yeah, so they came back and were like, we're good. I was like, wait, but I want to do one more. He goes, no, we're good. Let's move on.
That's funny.
It was, yeah.
So you
They were all
got
very nice.
maybe like 30 minutes of interaction with Charlie Sheen?
Not even.
Not even?
No, very fast. Yeah.
No invitations to after parties? Because I know Charlie Sheen was like well known for kind of being like a player, among the actresses.
No, it was just fine. No.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Interesting experience. So it was probably, I don't know, I want to ask you two things. I want to ask you like the most positive experience you've had and then the weirdest experience you've had in the acting industry.
I would really have to think about that. Because I know there are answers to this. God, I feel like I was just telling somebody something weird. Maybe weird, and the most positive. I was told one of the most important moments, I don't even know if it's the most positive, one of the most important moments to me was someone wanted me to do nudity in a movie. I am topless in Sunny for just a matter of seconds, so it wasn't gratuitous at all. It was about my acting. But somebody wanted me to be nude in one of the other scenes and was kind of pushing for that. And I did not want to do that because I got cast because of my acting. And I mean, sure, if you're attractive, that's going to help if that role requires that. But it was about my acting, and I went to one of the producers and said, I'm going to walk off this. Well, I walked off the set, but I said, I will not do this movie if that's the case. Can you please help me with this? And that particular producer, whatever, said yes, and said she doesn't need to do this extra nudity. Like, no.
So like they wanted you to be full nude, like?
No, they wanted to have me be topless in this one scene with Franco, and I'm like, really? The camera's going to be like staring at my breasts? You're not going to hear anything I'm saying. Why do I want to do? No, that's not what this is about. It's about my acting.
So the topless scene that you did do, was that like
that
just
was not gratuitous. It was a quick, like, I happened to be an addict, and I just had sex with Franco, and I like run into the other room, and I'm grabbing alcohol, and he catches me drinking this cough syrup, and he screams at me and like throws me down to the ground, or throws me down and attacks me, and it was really emotional and full of rage, and it was a crazy scene. Very emotional, and I'm really glad that it wasn't about my being nudity. I just happened to be running realistically from the bed. Right, because
it makes sense with...
That I would have run to the bed really quick naked and been caught suddenly. But yeah, I was not about to do a scene where I'm like doing the whole 3-minute scene or whatever. By the way, it was really cool. Is Nick Cage did this scene without cutting. So it was just Franco and I like this for like, honestly, I think it was like a 3-minute scene, no cutting, and I'm glad we didn't have this in the frame. So it was all about, the acting was really good between us, and it's wonderful. That's how you can really judge good acting, is there's no cutting,
right?
No editing, so that was nice. So that was a highlight. I'll have to get back to you on the weird thing.
Okay, yeah, I've heard some weird stories. But interesting experience though, like getting to work with Nick Cage, James Franco.
Yeah. Oh my God, Nick is so funny. In fact, on my podcast, we should tell people, go to YouTube for my podcast. It's just look up Josie Davis podcast and it'll pull up.
Yeah, we'll also drop all of our tags in the comment section for you guys to check out below too.
It's just Josie Davis on everything pretty much, but my Instagram is really fun, and there's a link in the bio that you can click on. It takes you to my podcast. But I had clips from an actor that I had that had also worked with Nick, and he's telling a story about what it was like to work with Nick, and he does his voice. It's so funny. Nick is he's just so fun. No matter what he says, he's so funny. What a character. He's such a character. He was like, he wanted me to look really angelic in the scene and beautiful and everything. And he's like, I heard him talking to Franco, and he's like, I want to make you kind of look like like a vampire, you're on the other side of the room. So he like made James like look all dark, and then his face was white, and then I'm over there all innocent.
What year was this?
I think it was '05.
'05, okay. Wow.
Somewhere around there.
So that was back when kind of Nick Cage was more so in his prime. Would you say?
But he is again. I mean, he's back.
Yeah, he did a big comeback.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different though. I've noticed, like, just his overall style. Haven't you noticed it's a little bit different?
Well, I think he seems more really serious right now and not doing as much sort of action stuff. I think he's trying to really be like work on being just the serious actor and not doing sort of what's going to be the hit at the box office, like a action type thing, Yeah.
Right.
But I have to tell you, to me at least, he was a very humble guy. When he was right before he won an Academy Award, he had done this movie, and we spoke. The movie he won an Academy Award for, they had a showing of it, a premiere, I guess it was. And I came out and I said, hey, I wanted to tell you what I thought. You were really great. And I started to tell him some things, and the doors opened and all the celebrities came pouring out, and they all started, if they look at me, they're like, who's that? They just want to push their way, and they do it all the time, and people will ignore you and push you aside. He said, okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, Josie, go ahead. What were you saying? He completely was listening to what I had to say and respected what I said first, and then thanked me and said goodbye, and then everybody came up. But isn't that nice that he didn't just like let all these famous people interrupt because they're famous? It was like, be nice,
Yeah, that's really cool.
He was very nice.
And then what about working with Franco? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, great. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, like interesting guy, or?
I'd met him before. Gosh, interesting. Yeah, he was, because of our characters, he was kind of off to the side and reading a book and kind of, this is one of his first movies. He was much more shy then, and kind of on his own a little bit. And I was sort of more with with Scott Conn and the girl playing my sister. And that's kind of, we weren't really talking, not really, because our characters didn't know each other yet. And it was sort of a discovery of that, so.
Yeah. So did you actually have to film like a full sex scene with him?
No, there's no.
Oh, so it's just like the cut, basically. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I kind of seduce him a little bit, and then they cut to me saying, "Oh my God, that was amazing!" And I had a Southern accent, and I was from Texas.
Oh, that's funny, Texas.
Yeah, I was from Texas. Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah.
So who's would you say is probably like the most famous person you've met in the industry?
I guess it depends on who you think is the most famous. Nick Cage is a big name.
Yeah,
Franco's a big name.
They're both huge.
I've seen Nicole Kidman. We've been in the same room. Let's see. I didn't talk to her. No, I'm trying to think. Charlize Theron, right here. She was like, "Oh my God, I'm 5'8". Okay. I was like literally looking up at her, and I thought, oh my God, how are you this tall? Is that crazy? I thought she was like supposed to be 5'10".
Oh, news to me.
So like 2 inches, but I was literally looking up like that. So I just think she's great. But God, I those are a couple people. I can't think of. I mean, there are TV names, there are film names. Like you could go back in old school day. Martin Landau was that's a respected name. Harry Dean Stanton was a big, really respected actor, big name. I mean, depends. If you're talking younger, it's Franco, right? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Sheen, Nick Cage, Franco, like all considered
David Spade.
celebrities.
These are all
I know Charlie hasn't been in the scene for a long time.
But now he's got a new show with Chuck Lorre.
Does he?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No way. What's it about?
Now you've got another thing to gambling and stuff like that. You'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Chuck Lorre's amazing.
Always loved that actor.
In that world, Chuck Lorre is the king of TV. Like he's killer. Like that's a huge name there.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting how social media has almost taken over the whole landscape of what is relevant Have you seen
Oh
that?
yeah, and I don't know all these influencers and all that stuff.
Right. It's like everybody is on social media, like literally everybody. Not everybody watches a certain TV show. So like you could be the star of a really popular TV show that gets millions of viewers, but somehow, some way, the social media influencer who films them doing dumb shit in their kitchen
I know.
is like got 20 million followers.
I don't like that because it's not. I mean, I don't like that it's
Zero
not,
talent,
that's
zero
what
skill.
I'm saying, and yeah, like yeah, I'm just not into the you're known for your nails or whatever. It's like
Right.
yeah, so I don't think we old school people respect that too much.
Yeah, no, you're a classic celebrity. So you had to do a
I've been called
lot
classic
harder
before.
work.
That's nice. So thank you.
Lot more work for you to get in, right? Where
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
you didn't just have an iPhone and then bam, all of a sudden you're famous.
No, but like you know, the other side of the sword is fantastic. I mean, the other thing is that it's wonderful then to be able to share with you guys, you know, what's going on in life today. And maybe if I'm not on a show right now and I'm doing a couple movies and people don't normally watch a lot of these movies or whatever, they can watch those. I also was just for fun doing Lifetime movies, just like on the side because I would be paid a lot of money, and so it's really fun. Really fun. Shoot these things in like 2 weeks, and there's so much dialogue, and I was able to do all that and have a good performance. And I would do those for a while, and then all of a sudden they started calling me online like the Queen of Lifetime. I was like, what? How'd that happen? That's bizarre. This was just a fun crazy thing. And my fans out there love watching they love watching me play crazy people like psychos and stuff. But I have a couple movies coming up, and it's nice that people can look at like little videos of trailers that I've put together myself. So that's the good part about social media also, and then sharing positive things, because there's also a lot of negative stuff, as we know, in the world, and which is why my podcast is so positive. And like yours is, I think it's so, I try to have mine be really funny and inspirational and fun and light and bright. And like, that's what, I think we need that in the darkness that we have right now.
Yeah, 100%. Now there's a lot of negative energy out in the world.
A lot. And
especially today.
And
it's so easy to circulate around social media.
The news, I literally ask Alexa what the top news is, and I listen to sort of news from the left, the right, the middle, everywhere. Just get the top pieces of news and I'm out, and that's it. And then I go back to reading, Think and Grow Rich, something, stay in the positive.
Right.
But I have a couple of movies coming out that are going to be really fun. I have
Can
one
you
with
tell us
James,
about it?
I have one with James Remar.
Okay.
From Oppenheimer. He's in many other things too, Tarantino's movies. But yeah, we have one called Glowsies, but there's a really funny one coming up that's at the end of the year. That's a Christmas. I think this one's going to be really funny. I'm the villain.
Oh, okay.
But I'm the funny villain, and my sidekicks that are my assistants, the three of us we're like in almost every scene together. I mean, we have a couple on our own, but it's like they are so funny, and together we were such a good team. Actually, Aaron Goldberg, who's in it with me, is one of my assistants, has started really taking off on social media with he and his gay sidekick. They're both gay. They are hilarious and so cute. And you've got to see them, and they're on TikTok. I don't know if Instagram, if they're as big, maybe, but TikTok is on fire. And oh my God, he's in the movie, and his partner's so funny. But this movie is called Festival of Trees, and it's a romantic Christmas romantic comedy, Christmas comedy, whatever.
And you're playing.
I'm a villain. I play this diva interior designer, and you can see, if you guys want to go to my Instagram, Josie Davis, I have some little clips that I put together. I think one is, do I have a trailer on there? No, you know what? I have not put the trailer on there. I'm going to do that. But I have like a clip of me with my sidekicks with my sunglasses on, like walking in my diva way to some cool music, slow motion, walking down a long hallway. I have that up right now. It's so cool. But anyway, yeah, there's so much to share, and I just can't wait to see that movie at the end of the year in Atlanta. I think I'm going to have to fly to Atlanta to see it, because that's where we shot it.
Okay, very cool. So a lot of exciting things happening still.
I know I'm producing a movie, and so I think this one's going to happen, and I can't say anything about it yet, but it would be like in a horror genre, but really cool. sci-fi-ish.
Okay, I
Yeah,
like it.
Really excited. And then writing a memoir, and that's been taking a long time. That'll be a really great thing to happen. That's another positive thing I want to share with people. The impetus to write it is to help people. And I'm being vague, but it's going to really help people for sure. And so I've got to like get it out quicker to help people as soon as possible.
I like that. With your podcast, do you think that might be your next potential like big thing that you just commit to full time?
No. The acting is it, you know, but I have already committed to doing the podcast, but as you know, I've taken off a month because I'm revamping the whole thing. As I was interviewing people, the show kind of took shape and turned into what the subject matter really is about now. Before I just kind of threw it up and I didn't know where I wanted to go with it. It kind of took shape, and now it's going to be called Success Road. So you can just go to Josie Davis podcast on YouTube and everything, and you can find it quicker that way. But right now it's called Imperfect, and everyone thought that I wrote I'm perfect, but it was actually imperfect. So the title now is going to be better. It's Success Road. I'm going to have a bunch of successful people on there and talk about where they came from, and you know, it's really interesting to hear the background. So, but that'll be something I'm committed to, that I'm doing again every week as soon as I can get the art up. And it's going to be a whole new revamped look, which is cool. And then, but no, the producing, and I'm going to be the lead in that movie. I'm going to play a doctor if I do it. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, that is
hopefully
exciting.
More of this producing and stuff like that.
Yeah. What about as far as like more content goes on social media? Like, do you have plans for that? Do you have like managers, advisors that kind of direct you on where to go?
No, I've been wanting to hire somebody to help with the social media, and they're all so expensive. I've just been like, I might as well be paying myself by doing it. You know, if I'm going to pay a couple $1,000 or a few $1,000s, it's like me earning $3,000 by doing my own.
Right.
But
yeah, I had Jason Woho on this podcast. He is like probably one of the top social media gurus in the whole country.
Wow.
His like average prices are like starting at $8,000 a month for social media management, and it only goes up from there.
What?
So like one of his clients was Dan Bilzerian.
Who's that?
You don't know who Dan Bilzerian is? You're making fun of me earlier for not knowing names.
How would I know? What does he do?
Dan Bilzerian is like the #1 most viewed person on Instagram.
For doing what?
He's a Playboy billionaire. So he's like huge, jacked, got
Does
this
that
big
sound
beard.
like anything I would
He has a
give
bunch of,
a rat's
like,
ass about in life?
$500 million yachts. Like,
I don't care about
he's
that. Sorry.
most well-known person on Instagram.
Okay, great. If it's someone who does something for animals or something like that, I care about that more.
Yeah, well, you made fun of me, so I get to make fun of you now.
Oh, no, you can. I just don't care about stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about it either, but still, very big name. But yeah, he did his social media.
Now that I'm actually impressed by, just because that's talent. Like if someone's that good at social media, that I like.
Social media is
anyone
a weird game.
in any talent, in any, you know, even if you're at an animal shelter and you have this amazing passion and talent and what you're doing with these animals. I've done that. Like I never promoted it on social media ever. And just was there 5 hours a day when I was volunteering at the South Central shelter to try and help all the room is full of cats. And I would go from cage to cage to cage to cage just to make sure they had water and food. And some of them were kittens and they had given them hard food. These cats can't eat this and there's no water and it's a mess inside, and some of them are depressed. And I actually, of course, I took 2 cats home from there.
That's nice.
You know, but the point is that that's if someone's good at that and doing stuff like that, I care more about that and those people getting attention and those animals that need help getting attention than someone with yachts. I don't give a flying rat's ass. No, I will not go on your yacht. Just kidding.
You probably would if it was a nice yacht.
No, I've been invited on many yachts, here and there.
You
I
don't like
care.
yachts?
I threw caviar over the edge many times on a cracker.
There you go.
I have thrown caviar. I don't care. Yeah.
That's fun.
I don't know. I was like 20 something. I didn't care.
Oh, in your early ages about acting, you got invited to all those?
Well, yeah, I've been on series my whole life. Of course, series to series. You're invited to every party.
So you're just sick of it then? You've been on too many?
No, I'm saying that I don't care about shallow shit. I don't care if you have a sex tape. I have no respect for that. Do something important in life, you know? someone who's told they can't walk uses their brain to do something, and all of a sudden they can walk. They can, or if they can't walk, they can, help other people or do something great in life. They have a purpose in life. Like that's what's important.
Oh,
Not
100%.
this shit out there that makes me so angry. It really does. It's just that there are people out there that are doing a bunch of just crap that's superficial, and that's what their claim to fame is. I don't respect it. I don't. Do something important. We need more people doing good things that mean something, that are worthy of attention. That's what I'm saying.
100%.
That affect people, that have a purpose in life. That's important,
Do you
I'm very
notice in
passionate
the
about
industry if people tend to care about those values, or do they tend to ignore them?
Well, we're in LA. I'm in LA. I mean, there's a reason also that I'm single, like to try and find people that are as deep as I would love, or I find so difficult, or that are scared of my depth, that I have. And I'm not saying I'm the deepest person in the world, not at all. But, a lot of people want you to be, a lot of guys, and in the world want you to be someone who is very, like usually needy. And I understand, like I have old values and morals, and and I'm traditional, and I, like, for example, love, I do believe I need a man, like I need a partner, right? And I don't mean need like I'm desperate, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the basic human emotional.
Yeah, I need a
to-
partner, and
yeah.
I need someone I can, lean on, and I would do the same, but I just find that they're just, most of the guys out there want someone that's going to make them feel better about themselves, so they pick people that are less than, or make less than they do, or whatever, So it's hard because there are a lot of shallow people out there. And
Yeah, I've seen that myself. So I was curious
We're
as
in
to what your
LA.
experience was, and just about the same as me. Pretty much everyone up in that area just cares about themselves, their own little bubble,
A lot
kind of
of
ignore
that.
the whole outside world. But yeah, no, that's very interesting that you actually do value other things in life other than chasing fame, clout, etc.
No, and the reason to that I would want more of that is to have a bigger voice and to be heard, so that what I say can actually make a difference. And I mean, it's crazy too. I've reached out to the shelters to go back to helping the animal shelters again, and they kind of turn me away a little bit. I'm just like, they don't seem to grab onto that, and it's like I have to keep trying again. I've got to remember, I've got to like write them again, or call them again, or foundations, and trying to help people. I really want to help, so I want to go back to helping the animals again in the shelter, not just online, but I also do sometimes place animals by helping spread the word. And actually there's some big changes in the world. The government, they've made some fundamental changes that are fantastic, where there were homeless people breeding animals on the street. I don't know if you know that, selling them for drugs and stuff.
Wow.
And poor animals, like insides, couldn't have any more babies. Like, it's awful. And Karen Bass, we were writing saying, come on, make this change. What are you doing? Singing about how everything is okay out there with the animal shelters. They're not, and they have tons of volunteers trying to help, and yet things are not going well there. And there's a new change that just I found out about today. Also, sorry, my brain's moving too fast. I'm thinking about the
No
fur,
worries.
and how the fur in California is not, people are not selling fur. You will get, it's against the law to sell fur now in in California, which is really important, really, really huge. But the change that was just made was that animals, what is it? The shelter, oh God, I'm forgetting what happened. It's so good. Oh, that the people are going to be, that foster animals are going to be paid. So people are not just doing it out of their, the kindness of their heart and having to bring animals into their home, that they're actually going to get paid to foster. And that's going to be huge, because it'll take a lot of the animals out of the shelters. And please don't buy animals. There's so many amazing, beautiful animals in the shelter. We're overpopulated, like 1,500 instead of 750 or whatever it is.
So it sounds like animals is something that you're most passionate about.
Huge.
Okay.
Oh, there's so many things. There's also sex trafficking, as we all know, and that's a huge thing. And
Yeah, I'm
It's
actually
getting-
supposed to get Paul Hutchinson on the show soon. You know who he is?
oh,
He
I
produced
know
the
that
movie Sound of Freedom.
Oh, I heard, and I haven't seen that movie. No, I've heard about that, and I
Really
wanted to.
good movie.
I
Yeah.
want to see that.
Definitely watch that movie.
There are two others. There actually. I'm sorry. There's one film that a filmmaker of mine made. And I'm forgetting the name of it now. Sorry. And that one really told a wonderful story that gave insight into what it's about, and I actually didn't know about it. And once you know about it, we should all do something about it. And
Yeah, no, that I actually know Joe Brandy. He's the CEO of Unity for Orphans. They're based out of San Diego.
Okay.
So he helps essentially orphan children be able to receive education, be put in like a safe environment to kind of encourage positive growth into adulthood. So that way, like a lot of these children too do come from very bad backgrounds of like, being abused in the home, sometimes trafficked, right? So he came on the show. We did a podcast. It should be coming out soon.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, kind of like helping him like get his word out there. That's a little bit of what I do on the side too for charity, because I've always been big on that cause. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was a Force Reconnaissance Marine, and I worked with Joint Task Force North, like the border. So I got to see a lot of the inside, like things that you don't see on the news of caravans of trafficked people coming across, right? So I've always been very passionate about it, and I am hoping to be able to connect Joe Brandy and Paul Hutchinson, because Paul is still actively rescuing the trafficked victims, right? So my vision is to see where Joe and Paul can kind of link, because Joe is focused on the positive like growth of the children, right? So receiving education, which is highly important for them. Yeah. So like Paul, maybe this is kind of my fantasy vision here. Hopefully it works out, but Paul can bring Joe, the kids that he rescued, and then they could be put in a safe environment. So I hope to be working more closely on those projects myself, but I totally understand that. And like you said, having a voice, like people listening to you is really important, because if you have a positive message or something that can help the world, or even if you could just help one person, it could make an incredible difference.
That makes your life suddenly important, doesn't it? There's also House of Ruth. A friend of mine has opened, I think, like 18 safe havens for the abused women and children. And that's where people can go when they've been abused and they need to run. I mean, technically, they need to that's where they finally will go. That's technically where they'll go. I mean, they need to go to the police, I believe is what it is. But they will take their kid to House of Ruth, and then they actually, it's so amazing, because sometimes when women have escaped, they have never had a job. So that's part of why they don't want to leave, because they've never had a job. And they're like, how am I going to leave the man? He's making money, and I'm a lot of times it's a stay-at-home mom, and they're like, I've got these kids. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Well, he's done such a wonderful thing at House of Ruth, because when you go there, they have a beautiful home there. They actually teach them about how to get a resume going, and he has another piece of what he does called Treasures for Angels, where people can actually buy really expensive purses and things that are donated. The money goes there, and then he's able to give these women a job, their first job, so they'll have a resume. Then they can get a job after that. So he'll give them a job to work in retail at Treasures for Angels. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that is amazing.
So then they have a resume now, and they can actually say, I just have references or whatever, and now they can go get a job in the world.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So they're not relying on the abuser. So isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, that is.
That's House of Ruth if you're needing to leave your abuser. That is, and it's all, if you want to learn more about it, it's on my podcast. I interview the girl. It's on the Valentine's Day episode. Don't ask me. It's just how it happened. But I thought, you know what? It's Valentine's Day. It's love. Let's share something positive. And it was helpful, even though it was about abuse. But I do a really funny dance before the show. You should see it. I'm like in this glamorous dress, and I'm doing this crazy dance, and I'd like trip and almost fall, and I try to keep going.
No, fun.
It's really funny. I try to do something funny, like a little skit before my episode starts. So it's fun.
I like that.
So you want me to dance here? We should do a dance.
Can you do a dance?
Just kidding. Yeah.
If you really want to do a dance, I'll watch.
No, I just to be goofy on my show. But anyway.
I like that. That's fun. So you had mentioned that dating is really hard for you.
It can be difficult.
What is your ideal man?
I actually have a date tomorrow night. I'm excited about.
Wow, okay.
But it's only a second. Well, I like a guy that's really intelligent and successful, and a good person who actually has morals and ethics and values. That seems to be the most difficult thing. When I've asked people to set me up, they say yes.
Especially
until
in LA.
when I say that. So, oh yeah, they're like, if you're in the South or the Midwest, you'd be married in a second, but LA, forget it.
Makes sense.
And someone who I would love someone who loves animals. I mean, that would be so ideal. It doesn't have to be, but I do want them to love animals. They don't have to be like out there doing, the shelter or whatever. But, like I've got my little sweetheart cat. I have 2 cats. I have Snow, named after Snow White.
So you need a guy to love your cats.
I have Snow and Valentino. I mean, I want them to love, because they're amazing. Mm-hmm. They are like dogs. My cats are always like dogs because I play fetch and chase them around and stuff, and they chase, it's so fun. They're so fun and great. Most people don't like cats. A lot of guys don't like cats, which I find strange. They underestimate them, or maybe it's how they're raised. But the way I raise them is, if you really involve them and talk to them and stuff like that, they're very vocal back and crazy and fun, and we have a great time. That's how I've been able to be single all these years. I'm serious. I've got my little buddies, so I'm never lonely.
Yeah. Cats can be fun, and I'm not like the biggest cat person. I was raised with a cat.
Why not just be an animal? Like, why be against any animal?
I don't know. I like dogs. I have a golden doodle at home.
I would love to have a dog.
Dogs are fun. Cats are all right. I mean, my ex-girlfriend, she had the most weird cat ever. It's like this strange creature that just always hide in the dark, and then it'd come out once in a while to try to claw at you and run away.
No.
So very antisocial cat.
No,
but as soon as I started hanging out more and being around the cat's personality completely changed. And ended up turning into a dog, and I'd play with the cat, give it belly rubs. So weird how its whole personality changed. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. Yeah. But sometimes Valentino hears a scary guy. If he hears a scary voice, he doesn't come out. Otherwise, after a little bit of time, he's good. He's out and running around in the mornings. He's meowing and running and racing, and then he'll even jump to the top of my headboard. And I'm looking up at him, and he'll jump down almost on my face because he thinks it's funny. He runs to the top of my treadmill and points his nose at the top like he's da 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 da. It's ridiculous. He's the cutest. He looks out the window. It's like a dog.
Yeah.
He's like a dog. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you have that in your life.
Me too. But a great guy would be amazing. John Hamm is the look I think every girl loves. But that's
John Hamm.
John Hamm from. Well, he's on morning show at the moment, but John Hamm's famous for being on that famous show that took place in the 50s. Oh God, everyone knows what it is. Not if I guess if you're not in your 20s. Well, it was just a huge show on. Well, you don't watch TV though.
Yeah.
And it was a huge show just a few years ago, and I'm of course forgetting the name of it. Oh well. But most people know who John. And he was in also.
I'll have my editors put up a picture of him.
He was in one of the biggest movies ever, Bridesmaids. Didn't you see that?
Would you date John Hamm?
Are you kidding? Yeah, I would. I don't even want to date actors, but that guy, anyone would date him.
Yeah.
But wedding. I just said the title. Wedding. My Bridesmaids.
Oh.
You saw Bridesmaids, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Okay, he was in that in the beginning. Okay. He's having sex with her in the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
First scene of the movie. Yeah. He's very funny in it. Yeah. That's the guy. He's a tall, dark, handsome dude, but he's a talented actor. I don't know what he's like, but I would prefer someone not an actor, but a businessman would be cool. With a sense of humor.
So, someone a little bit more successful than yourself.
That would be great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
In different ways.
Right.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah.
So I kind of see it. So you basically want a guy who's morally sound, who is successful, like tall, dark, and handsome.
I mean, they don't even have to be as handsome as John Hamm, but that's like my, that's an example. As a dream kind of guy, I think.
Fair enough, fair enough.
With a good sense of humor.
I like that.
Who gets my ridiculous jokes.
Good luck.
He doesn't have to be fun. And you wouldn't believe it. The date that I have tomorrow asked me on the way over here to go to a comedy show for our date.
Oh, in Irvine?
No. He wants me to go to Laugh Factory or something.
Oh, I've heard of that one too.
Which is funny because I dated a comedian for a short period of time.
Okay.
Who wasn't funny.
Oh.
Sorry, he was more funny when he was acting and in our life than he was as a comedian.
Yeah, very interesting.
But he's a very smart businessman. And I'd like him to do my podcast, but now he's getting married and he thinks he can't do my podcast because he's getting married.
Ridiculous.
I know. And by the way, look at this jacket. I keep slipping on it. This is fake fur, by the way, but I keep slipping on it. This jacket, look at this.
It's a nice jacket.
This is Madison Maison. I just wanted to tell you that because I'm wearing his pants. And they have like this gold on the side, too, that's super cool. And they sort of, I wear his stuff on my show, and this is Shop Gigi Moda.
Oh, fabulous.
Isn't this cute?
Yeah.
They gave it to me in almost every color, and I'll literally dance in my episodes wearing some of these clothes.
Nice.
Yeah.
You get a brand deal with that?
They give me their clothing. Yeah, and then there's, there are other products that I'm wearing a product right now, and if I drink a green product, I'll mention it or dance with it in my hand or do a little commercial type thing with it, Yeah, it all depends. So
yeah, amazing.
I think skincare would be good. I'd love some great skincare and to show that kind of thing next. So we'll see who wants to be
many different places you kind of dive into with it. It's cool.
Different. I always do something different. And even if it were a restaurant, I'd love to give a shout out to and talk about a restaurant. So I'm pretty open. But that would be really neat to, that's whoever wants to be a spotlight on my show. I do a spotlight.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. Final question for you, Josie.
Okay.
If you had to give one piece of advice to anybody who's trying to get into the acting field, what would that be?
I get asked this a lot. Persistence is something that absolutely you have to have persistence. You have to make sure, number one, why are you doing it? I would never have lasted this long if I were just doing it for fame, and I would be like this desperate person, and I just think that's a shallow reason to go for something. There has to be a really big purpose, and you better be really good at it, are you good at it? You better get good at it. Your friends will tell you if you're good at it, I'm sure. Listen to them. And if that's the case, then go for it and just don't stop till it happens. And you've got to believe that it will happen. And truly, honestly, I really believe it will happen. I mean, there are different levels of fame or success in the business. So it depends where you're wanting to be. But I really believe that whatever that wonderful dream of yours, or at least close to it, will happen if you have persistence and can take, I've been rejected so much, I can't even tell you. I'm rejected constantly. Like, I'd love a better agent, and it's just not happening. Like, I don't,
Yeah, rejection is actually a key aspect of life.
I'm rejected without them even, meeting me. So I'm not truly rejected. They're rejecting, a piece of paper with my picture, and, it's not anything real. I think that just you have to be able to take that kind of rejection. I'm just constantly told
100%.
no all the time. And I just know that all it is, there's a wonderful saying is rejection is God's protection. And, I believe that at that right time, in God's timing, that the right thing will happen. That's why I have a tattoo on my finger that says faith in pink, in violet. Because this is faith in God's will. And I'm not even religious, so don't get scared, all you people that are scared of religion. Spiritual, but I choose to call my higher power God. And that's how I've made it through. That's why I'm on this earth still. This is why I'm still here. This is why I never probably killed myself or anything like that, because I've had a dark life. Not that anyone knows this, but you'll read it in my book one day. But faith in God's, God's plan is what has, got me on the track and kept me going all this time and keeps me going and given me hope and that faith. So persistence in a hard shell, so to speak.
Sounds like we share some similar spiritual beliefs. I'm kind of on the same page as that. I don't identify with a religion, but I'm very close to God, and I like to, be able to leave things to Him sometimes. Like, I'll still do the right thing every single day. Like, wake up in the morning, I'll go to the gym. I'll do the work that I need to do.
Is that the right thing?
I'll eat healthy.
I'm just
It is
kidding.
the right thing, because if you
But I don't go in the morning.
Well, it doesn't have to be in the morning, but
I'd love
overall, the point is like being able to take care of yourself, because you only get this one life, this one body.
I know.
And I do believe it's a disservice to God to be able to treat your body.
Make good use of what you were given.
Right, exactly. So.
Do you know you don't know Neil Donald Walsh, do you?
No.
He was in The Secret. Do you remember The Secret at all? No. Check out The Secret, the law of attraction. Everyone knows about that. If you look on YouTube, most people know who Neil Donald Walsh is. But wonderful spiritual speaker, I should say. He's amazing. And he actually refers to God. I've heard him say she. So it's really interesting, because I admire him a lot, and it made me say, ooh, he might know. So now I always have said him with a capital H, but I kind of now keep saying God, just because I don't know. We don't know, right? Is there a sex? I don't think there actually is a sex, really, but who knows? Who knows?
It's supposed to be a masculine
I don't care.
figure.
I don't know. But
In
it
most
might
religions.
In religion, yeah, but in spirituality and the reality of really, who it is, we don't know really.
Well, there is masculine energy and there is feminine energy. Usually when it comes to leadership, like a god is going to be some form of leader or hierarchy, which typically is something of masculine energy.
Well, I guess, I don't know. I've kind of thought Neil Donald Walsh was pretty insightful, so I'm open. I guess doesn't matter, honestly. It doesn't matter. The point is I know that there's a higher power I have, and that's what I'm leading, that's who leads me. But I definitely follow whatever, I don't care what,
Right.
follow that lead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Josie, it was such a pleasure having you on.
Thank
you so
having
much.
me.
Guys, please be sure to check out her channel. She's got a cool podcast. We're going to link all the information below.
It's just Josie Davis.
Yep,
Yeah.
Josie Davis. Give her a follow, guys.
The Instagram's the fun thing, and the podcast, Josie Davis Podcast.
Yeah, I like it. Cool. Well, hey, thank you for tuning in to the JD Show, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.